Hello, everyone. Welcome back to VALORANT Challengers North America Stage 1. Week 2, Day 1, and match number 2 of the day. It's time to head over to M80 versus SAD Esports. Uber, the last match, I mean, we've not gotten too many 2-0s so far, but hey, we're rolling through today. I'm excited for this next series.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we just come off a 2-0. M80 was actually the only team last week that managed to win their series in that kind of clean fashion with like an icebox that was extremely one-sided, right? A map where you win both pistols, but your attack rounds are just pretty flawless. TSM were pretty scattered, pretty disorganized, and didn't look like they'd really hit their stride yet. So M80 came out of a bit of a struggle of Lotus. Neither team having a lot of success on their attacks. There was a lot of these like retakes, a lot of retakes successful from the defenders' side there. So interesting back and forth, but really don't think it told us much about M80 outside of like a couple of individuals that are, obviously looking really promising. Like Nismo had a great map, and Koala Noob is like one of the most proactive controllers that we're seeing in challenges right now. They're getting involved a lot early and finding a lot of success in these like early to mid round moments.
I feel like, too, if we're just looking at these two teams face off, you're saying we didn't necessarily learn the most about M80, and I kind of feel that way about SAD Esports as well. I feel like there was a couple of teams of week 1, right away you kind of got an image of who they were. And when I'm looking at SAD Esports, their game up against Winthrop University, there's not really anything that comes to mind as like, wow, I'm super excited for this going into week 2, and I really hope we get that moment today.
Yeah, I have some things that I'm excited about with this team, honestly. Last week when we were watching them, I was saying that they're like a dark horse pick team for me. And I think maybe to clarify on that more, I think they're a team that when we get to the end of the season, I think they will exceed people's expectations. I have some strong faith in the initiator duo of Bob and Darkest. I think both players are very talented, Darkest being the lesser known of the two, and is the player on the team that is flexing the most, plays 3 different roles. And I've seen some fantastic moments from their duelist Skarn as well, and so it's kind of those 3 in unison, the initiator and duelist combo, that I'm seeing some potential in there. And that's what's leading me to have some positive aspirations for the team. As kind of time goes on, but they're going up against M80, and it might be a little bit too early in the season for that matchup for them to actually maybe some of that potential to come to fruition, where we're seeing it convert to like, hey, they got some close games. Maybe they even take a map one at some point in weeks and weeks in the future. But I don't know if that's right now. I think right now, if they can even like put up a pretty solid fight, have some close maps but lose, I even think that's a good result, to be honest, for this team right now. But I think they have potential.
And I want to clear, I feel like it sounded a little mean that I'm not. I'm excited to see them play. I'm just still waiting for that, oh, wow, like step up, or who we're going to be keeping an eye on. But I do definitely agree that there's a lot of potential in this. Looking at that last match they had at Uber, I'd just love to know your thoughts about this SAD Esports team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Icebox was a meme. It was extremely one-sided, and basically SAD were like pushing down mid on defense to try and end the game, like literally all 5 running there. So their attack rounds were very good. We saw Infiltrator struggle to like receive contact. Like there was no sort of, you could position up on top of the boxes there, on sort of that A side defense. Try and hold that angle with an op. They're constantly being forced off. And Winthrop are like playing ultra retake on that map, and they like have players trying to come down mid, and they're just like really lightly holding this A presence. So SAD just walk in, set up, plant spike, have post plant utility, and win the round. The most interesting map of the series, I think, is Lotus. Ascent is Lotus is definitely the most interesting map in the series. Infiltrator has a great time, I think, really comes alive in that second half especially, and causes a lot of problems for SAD in general. Like we have that long overtime, at one point, SAD, they're able to win both pistols, but tend to drop the ball sort of midway through the half, and they got thriftied in that second half that really allowed Winthrop to go on like a 5-round streak, which is really good retakes, honestly, and some errors being made by SAD there. So, SAD, I think, demonstrated on Icebox and Ascent there. They're very good. They're very well drilled. It was very straightforward on those maps. The Lotus one, though, a little questionable at times, and some of their post-plant protocols seem flimsy. They're having to like win rounds 2v5 with pistols, and they were doing it because of this insane individual level on SAD. But getting there in the first place was was kind of the issue, I think, and dropping some rounds that really they should be able to convert on pretty comfortably.
Be intrigued since week 2, where you can see kind of like the level up going into this week. And since we do have the potential over on this team, I'd be excited to see just what they're able to be handing over to M80. But you said M80 that still not sure what necessarily got to see out of them for week 1, but it's definitely a team that we got to see out of a lot last season. And there's definitely a highlight player on this team for me. And pulling up this tweet coming out from Koala Noob, honestly, it wasn't. We got to see a lot of great things from M80. Looking at this, though, I want to talk about Nismo. Why are all Valorant players just good at the game? I'm actually about to buzz myself. This was tweeted out during the Loud Send game, but Wyatt, I'd like to think that this was about Nismo in my head, because honestly, Nismo had a great showing last week.
Nismo is the why is this guy not in partnership player, and he has been for, well, since partnership started. I mean, he's just insane on the flex roll. His raise is ridiculous. In the game last week against TSM, he was just doing whatever he wanted on defense. His team is setting him up, but there were also moments where it's just like, no, I just know if I satchel around this corner with my ult out with no setup, I'm just going to get a kill and use the momentum of firing the rocket to just launch myself back out. Like, he just is on a totally different level as far as his play, I think, than almost everyone else in this league. And the people that are close to his level, I don't think are on his level. I think he's just the best player in Challengers, period.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
I think like in 40% of rounds, Nismo was getting at least 2 kills. Like at least, and sometimes able to find. I think you've had like 2 or 3 like really important, really impactful 3K moments here. Nitro, by the way, was very, very restrained in his sort of return. I was quite happy to see it. I think he looked really solid, but he didn't do a whole lot on Lotus. Really just held down that B side and refused to let it go. But yeah, I mean, Nismo, incredible flex player, really. And again, like so often having outsized impact, right? Getting much more bang for his buck than like, you know, comparable duelists at that particular role. You know, like even on Icebox, like, yeah, a good, like, yeah, 7 out of 20, 8 out of 20 rounds is like getting 2Ks, 3Ks. It's really important, right? Especially when we looked at like Will last week, you know, not to bring the poor guy back up again, but really struggling to get set up and to find even sort of that one trade in quite a few of those rounds. Nismo is constantly going above and beyond here. And it's aggression. It's also set up very well. But Nismo has a tempo about him that's really hard to predict. And again, the execution when he wants to go fast, double satchel plays, what have you, is basically flawless, full of confidence. And that's what you want to see from your star duelist.
100%. And there was one map that we talked about a lot when we were talking about these teams, and that was Icebox. So I think it's time to head into our map picks and bans, kind of see where we're headed for this series and this showdown. And with Icebox to start here, picked up by M80 Wyatt, I think this will be a great start to this best of 3.
I couldn't think of a better map for it, to be honest. I mean, not that we've seen M80 on more than 2 maps this year, but on Icebox, they run a cool no duelist comp, and on the other end, SAD run that extremely whimsical Reyna Gecko Deadlock Jet comp, which is just madness, and it absolutely steamrolled Winthrop last week. I mean, they just threw them in the dumpster. That map was a wash. So I'm interested to see how the double duelist Deadlock Chaos matches up against the no duelist thinking man's comp, except basically in that comp, Kowalny was playing Omen and he thinks he's still on Jet.
Yes.
So TPing around like he's playing Jet. So this should be a very fun map, and I'm glad it got in the pool just for the sake of our own enjoyment.
Man, I love that you bring up Kowalny playing like a duelist. Pretty sure he's like 8 and I mean, he's +8 first kill, first death over the course of that entire series, which is, by the way, even more than anyone else in terms of like the differential there. So many of these opportunities are being taken by Kowalny, but like these early round pops constantly over sort of multiple maps here. I think like these 2 teams actually have a really similar map pool. They really similar. That like neither of them really are excited about playing bind, and you know, we know M80 kind of always ban that map. So Ascent, I don't know if we get to see anything particularly crazy here. That'll be the true test. Might be a grind at some points here, but I think both teams look good on these maps we've seen so far, especially Icebox and Lotus as far as M80 is concerned here. So do I think we go to a third map? Probably not. I just think the quality, you know, in wholesale for this M80 team is a step ahead. But I mean, look at what we saw from, you know, TWAT over the course of 1 week's improvement here. So this is a great chance to check the temperature of SAD and what kind of leaps and bounds they've been able to make with just 1 week, which for some teams is more than enough to change their fortunes.
100%. And I definitely am worried with the potential overlap in the maps that might be where some of the outclass comes in, considering M80 with the experience and the tenure that they had, especially with their run last year, comes in. But regardless, exactly like we were saying, like, it's been a week, Wyatt. It'd be exciting to see just kind of how they stack up. And I feel like we should have some really just good Valorant ahead of us.
For sure. I don't think M80 are going to necessarily be needing to do a ton of prep. You know, of course, watch the game from SAD, and I say that given that this map pool is the 3 maps that SAD played last week, but I do think, you know, M80 are just going to come in, they're going to be focused on playing their own game. It's not like they're going to have to go hard anti-stratting or anything like that. Like, no, they can come in, they can play their own game, play it solid. They should be able to come away with the win, you would think. I can't foresee this going in a SAD victory. Even if they might take one of the maps if they have an absolute heater, but Lotus was just not great against Winthrop last week, and we just saw M80 play a pretty sick Lotus against TSM. So it's really hard to imagine that SAD can win this series. It would be a tremendous upset, and that would be crazy to watch, and I'm all for it. But I think the main hope for them is if they can just keep this close, I still think that'd be a great result. I really do.
Yeah. Well, we already know that both teams have a solid icebox. It's time to see how they stack up against each other as our agent select is ready, and I'll see you two later.
Thank you very much, Sierra. Yeah, we've sort of already had it teased, right? A wacky comp for SAD Esports that they are running right back on Icebox here.
That's what I want to see.
Ooh, the Deadlock, the Gecko.
That's what I wanted to see.
The Rainer. Definitely, yeah, fun to talk about, fun to discuss. Like, we've sort of seen Deadlock being very good at shutting down a lot of those fast moves here onto some of these sites. M80, though, again, it's a composition that doesn't feature a duelist, right? The double initiator setup, pretty strong with these hits, but they don't have to run it down. They can really sort of drag these, you know, these rounds out a little bit more, right? Double controller setup here, a lot of one-way potential. You know, the Viper over at B, the Omen could create those opportunities on top of pipes at A, can cut off mid. A lot of options for M80 to actually sort of pave the way and also obscure a lot of information from this SAD Esports team.
Last week as well, I mean, you're talking about how the Deadlock can be used on defense. We never even really got to see it because SAD just rolled Winthrop on attack. They were up 10-2 at the half. So we never even really got to see their defensive setups. We just saw them hit A and Darkest run at them and drop like 25 on Reyna or whatever it was, right? So I'm interested to see if maybe we will get a chance to actually see what this Deadlock is going to be all about on defense for this team. You know, outside of sort of the typical use that we see on attack with it, like when you execute B and you throw it to, you know, cut off Snowman, for instance, or to cut off screens when you're on A and you take the site and the post plants, right? Not a ton of variation with that we're always seeing, but, you know, perhaps if we get to the defensive side, that will change. I also can't foresee that this is going to be another situation where SAD are just going to be inting onto A over and over again. And I think they're going to have to dig a little bit deeper into the playbook if they want to have if they want to have a competent attack half here against M80, one of the highest quality teams that we have in Challengers. Many people's favorites to win this year.
We saw a lot of the Deadlock util being used to fight for the orb in A. Something we saw, like GravNet getting dropped down pretty frequently. First up, though, mid denied. So right now, M80 don't know if SAD have crossed or not. They do have a player in tube, though. They are using Koala Noob just to give them peace of mind. It's a slow start for your attacking side.
Darkest just watching out for pushes. M80 on their defense against TSM were quite aggressive, pushing up into B main a lot with Xander, taking close fights. So they're just waiting that out, feigning a mid-cross. And now they're going to go into this B execute. But yeah, M80 have read this. Their defensive calling is fantastic. They had a read on TSM both maps the entire time.
We've got a high-low setup with the double face as well. Waldo's going to mess that up. Nismo can't see anything. Xander got caught out on bottom. Wasn't able to escape, perhaps with the speed that Dark has pushed up yellow with. Wingman going to do his job here. Noob getting caught over. I'm sorry? The mosh pit? Okay. This is going horribly for M80.
You just have to wait for that wall to come down now as the pistols are being reloaded. Essentially, no util to play with. BCJ might be able to throw up a Dizzy, but it's better to keep a gun in his hands at this point. He has so much distance to cover.
Gun does get a warning shot fired off. Here it is, Dizzy. He's going to make it harder for Darkest here. BCJ uses that opening to bring Skarn down. Eventually, the double face in front of the side is good, but Nitro is in a 1 versus 3. And won't make any progress. Is sad. They're impossible to shift there from yellow and from the back of sight. They have got it all covered.
M80 were so ready for that, but they were all just stood behind the wall, so their read on the situation was entirely irrelevant. What an opening from Sad. Some early momentum.
How did that Viper wall mess them up so bad? That is the standard wall.
Yeah, that was quite unfortunate for them. 5 classics in their hands. A good decision considering there's 2 outlaws on the field on the attacking side right now from Sad. And there we go. That is that little utility play that they were using last week against Winthrop for A control constantly. The Gravnet Molly combo onto the ult orb there in the middle.
All comes up. Kuala Lumpur flank from top of screens has to be aware as BCJ gets brought down by Skarn. It's a trade though. The classics go to work. Skarn can only find 1 for their life. And we'll have Spike headed closer to the side here. Nismo though waiting around it. Bob having a swing here and good cover from Zoe from the high ground. Still 2 players to work with though.
Metro on the flank right now. They don't have a true sentinel, right? There's no alarm bot. He could find the perfect timing to win this upset round.
It's good. Oh, the flash to set him up. Coburg does have to turn around and with the shots on the Nitro. Dad moment there. Don't worry about it. Put it out of your mind. Darkest will bring Kuala Lumpur down. And Zach in their second.
That was almost a scary situation right there. Nitro could have come up huge.
Oh, a flash too. That's brutal.
It feels a bit, I don't know. Should I use this moment to talk about, you know, like, ooh, how good will Nitro be on the return after he just whiffs from behind like that? I feel like maybe I should have picked a better moment, but I mean, listen. It is a relevant question in people's minds because when he retired from Valorant previously, he was undisputed, like minimum top 3 best controllers in the world and easily, arguably, the best controller when he quit. And after all this time now is back playing the Sentinel role on a quality team. I mean, you certainly don't doubt that he's going to be a fantastic player again, right? It's really just, when will that be?
Yeah.
How much time is it going to take? I mean, this is a guy with so much top level experience across multiple titles, the biggest tournaments in the world, massive crowds. He's proved time and time again that he has what it takes. And you're just waiting for that moment where he's just going to prove it again, right?
Again, was very much a role player last week, Wyatt. Really pretty restrained. It didn't take any undue risks. Did what was needed to be done. Oh, that's not ideal. Kuala Lumpur losing out in that swing. Still, though, nice molly from Nismo. Always there with the trade. Leah could be a problem, though, here for Zeta, but it's still going to be able to catch Darkest down. Bomb plants her feet. And Nismo's going to be there, though, and again, the bonus here for Sad. Would love 1 more gun. Just 1. And I'll be pleased about that one. Oh, my goodness, BCJ. Not ready for the swing there. So 3 guns taken away from the full buy of M80.
Yeah, pretty nicely done from Sad. You'll take that all day. A little bit of an economy boost as well, getting the spike down. And of course, as you mentioned, that damage done. So far, Sad, they're playing a solid game. Those A hits of theirs, as I mentioned previously last week, were just overwhelming for Winthrop University to deal with. They had absolutely no answer. Skarn and Darkest, those 2 duelists were just taking so much space at will.
Turret out.
There's that green lineup, I'd assume. Maybe over towards the... Yeah, green lineup for the Viper.
Dizzy's up.
Okay, Dizzy looking for that. This is a very out in the open jet positioning from the defenders. Not that they have any jets, but we know that Nismo can take some very aggressive angles out there. Spots
yeah,
nothing.
Absolutely. M80 they are so inclined to push up and take some of these aggressive angles. It's what they were doing against TSM last week, though. Frankly, they haven't really done it too much now. Of course, it is early days. You know, they can begin playing a little bit more of a passive game and then switch into that aggressive mode later on to catch some of these players out.
Nitro is about to have a lot on his plate. This will be spotted early. And again, the stack to A, the gamble here from M80. Has not eventuated. That wall's going to force Nitro into a full retake positioning here. Maybe try and deny that access towards Snowman. But yeah, with Thrash on the prowl here, Nitro needs to respect it.
A lot of time has been wasted here, and the wall is dropped right now. This could be a bit dangerous. Darkest, nice first kill with the Outlaw. Wild on the swing as well. Wall's back up now.
Still half armor for Koala Noob, though. But Darkest gets rid of that.
Sorry, Coburg in mid is going to be on that late flank as well. That's going to be crucial.
Keep eating a smoke for Koala Noob. Very aggressive positioning. I like it, but Darkest is sniffing it out. Doesn't matter. There's the flash. Leah comes out here, but Xana's taken Skarn down, and Darkest is going to start to feel the pinch. Sorry, with the spray down. What a moment here for Sad. Really break the bank of M80. And they've been able to find a decent slew of attacking rounds here. It's hard to take much away from the game against Winthrop, but this is looking very well drilled.
Yeah, off that round previously where they did all that damage, paying dividends now. Darkest with that first shot with that Outlaw was really nice. Look at this post-plant setup. I wanted to point out that the lurk from Coburg going through mid as well, because so much space was going to have to be reclaimed by M80 pushing forward towards B main on that retake. That in the meantime, Coburg would have flanked 4v3. That was essentially locked up from there. Sad are really bringing it to M80 right now, playing a nice game.
Darkest here will hope for like a 4-10 peak that left side. This time M80 feel like they have more than enough info with how far up Xander is pushed on B-Main. It doesn't matter, Nismo. Cops one. Yeah, a little bit of damage back in response, but this Outlaw is getting a lot of value against an unarmored, primarily, M80 squad. One hit kills across the board. This is going to be nasty.
Yeah, and at this point, they can take things quite slowly. You see Darkest is just going to pick up the flank now with the Outlaw. Sad want to wait things out, see if anyone from M80 is going to overpush, try and re-clear this space, but that's not going to happen. Eventually, they're going to have to fight into this stack. And though they have the weapon advantage, of course, that's always going to be dangerous.
I guess they could cancel here, but they're running out of time. It's pretty clear that they're committed to be quiet. Here comes the Viper wall up. Skarn will try and find a way around or through it. Either way, Nitro's able to find a close range kill there. Hang on, these pistols are doing work. Dangerous. BCJ sees the spike go loose up there. Nitro, oh, sorry, buddy. It's Betty Buys for you. Bob there needs to respect this BCJ, though, with the Ghost. And now 2 versus 2. Spike ain't down yet. It's up on the high ground. It's in a terrible spot eventually. Darkest brought it down, but a stunning thrifty for M80 is sad. They know they've got to go for it, but they just self-destruct.
Yeah, it would have been nice to maybe see them try to pull off of A little bit, right? Make some noise that they're leaving, throw a little bit of utility elsewhere, just try and apply some pressure, because they really did just dead giveaway that they're going to re-hit, right? I mean, you have to imagine that Xander is going to push up on B and get that information. And Darkest was watching for that flank for a while, but at some point, right, you just can't, because they have to hit the site. Money is still good enough for a buy, though, so things haven't totally crumbled for Sad.
Koala Noob, we just saw the progenitor of the Opping Omen and Mummy in the previous game. Don't know if they'll be expecting this, Sad, but they mostly circumvent that operator positioning. They put 2 up tube here. Normally, the position Koala Noob's been watching quite closely. They're not convinced, though. They're going to pull out of that spot.
Viper's Pit is going to go down onto the A site now.
Cover going out.
We'll definitely further dissuade Sad from heading in that direction. BCJ, cover some of that util here. Push pretty far towards B long here, so at risk of being overwhelmed. There's a poison orb here that should cover BCJ's reposition. And there's no push anyway. One way slows things down a bit. Leah, gotta be dodged, as is the Dizzy. BCJ retreats now back over towards that Snowman position. We do have the Null Command active here. Nismo throws that one down defensively, so now more time off the clock here for Sad. Another smoke. Again, is going to slow them down. Sad really crumbled under a slower approach in the previous round. But they'll refresh the Viper wall and start to scale in. Look at this. They know they have to fight for back Snowman. And they're going for it. BCJ takes a double up position here now, and perfect. Coburg caught. Nitro's going to be there as well. That is a beautiful protocol executed correctly by M80.
It's really that ultimate from Nismo that just shuts everything down, allows the players to get, those M80 defensive players to get set up in the proper positions, ready to fight as soon as that ultimate ends, and the SAD Esports team are attempting to get the spike down. Just couldn't have timed that ultimate better.
They did so well. Again, bleeding the clock down further and further. And the double stack over towards Snowman, right? You know that, SAD at some point with this double duelist probably looking to just hard contact into parts of the map or use the lead to try and get there. Super well read.
Out of my way.
And then we go at 3-3 here is SAD. Yeah, that economy pretty much dwindled entirely now. Skarn at least able to go for the Blade Storm now. I imagine they're going to run this one down, Dr. Wyatt.
Well, not so fast when your entire team gets lit up by the knife. Might have to slow things down just a tad. The Executor's still going to come in, though.
Gun goes in. Guys at the ready. BCJ able to dodge him for the most part and get absolutely no value from the Blade Storm. Grabnet working out here, but Nitro is unfettered. Able to push over towards 4-10 now with a surge of confidence. And oh wow, a defensive lockdown even employed here to ensure that M80 could clear A.
A small victory for SAD, another small victory about to come up as Bob gets the plant down and the ultimate online, that thrash for a round later in the game. So what looked like a catastrophic round has turned into a small, sad victory.
Yeah, a little something. M80. 5 plays up, still making 4. Bob, she has the angle. Then a response here, and we do have the spike down now. The barrier deployed to cut off the approach from mid. That means that Snowman, though, is still on. Well, it is a little awkward for the defenders to make their way around this. They do at some point have to challenge this. They've got to go to the spike. Eventually, Coburg is caught out, and M80 get out into the lead.
And again, just a little piece of utility from Nismo, paying off just a little bit when the knife tags 5 people outside of A. Kind of gives away what the team might be going for. M80's starting to wrangle things under control again here, which is expected by this, I want to say, veteran team. I suppose that is appropriate. They've been playing together for some serious time now, that core. Xander, Nismo, bringing in BCJ this season. Koala Noob as well. I mean, it goes all the way back to Ghost with Nismo. These guys have been together for ages.
That 0 point is huge. It doesn't just give you info. SAD were just about to deploy that utility. Force to stuff it into their pocket for the next 8 or so seconds. Koala Noob again on the operator. Again, in the duelist composition of M80. Koala Noob expected to step up and operate on these long angles. Now, they don't know that SAD have crossed yet. They're playing a little bit more. Oh my goodness, how do you find that one? Okay, a bit of damage back towards Koala Noob. But very quickly reposition here. You've taken your fill for the time being. You take up that high ground spot. Play safely from it. Koala Noob gets out with literal murder.
Swinging onto him. Wow, ball move. What a shot. I mean, that is just outrageous. For years now, we've seen Koala Noob just so prolific with his operator.
Back in the trends here. Getting a huge amount of value. Going in bot for the rescue low now. Making it a 2 versus 2. Viper's Pit has to be deployed, though. And that wingman is to draw some attention out. Not a plan on the other end of that. BCJ trying to group up here with Xander as much as possible. They've isolated Bob perfectly. It's just Zoe at 25 HP with no chance of planting the spike. And a good recovery. Looks like they are trying to hit the off-back. They should be able to. Yes, we're sorted.
A good attempt, but when you're going for the trades on Koala Noob and he's lighting people up like that, there's not much to be done. I mean, he has just been such a great duelist in NA for so long. And honestly, in this weird situation where it's, in a way, almost hard to rate him against other duelists because he's been with this same squad for so long that has been finishing in sort of a similar tier in NA. He hasn't had, performances on other big teams. He's always shown up for this squad, but, you wonder how he would do against the other great NA duelists that are in partnership right now. And M80 are fighting for a chance for him to be able to prove how much he could do. I mean, they are one of the favorites this year, without a doubt.
Absolutely. I'm glad that Bob's found a way to keep herself entertained during these timeouts. Just solve the Rubik's. Yeah, like you do it in 30 seconds. It looks like she's well and truly locked in. Zoe here making some conversation. As Sad have really faltered over the last couple of rounds. Those last couple of gun rounds especially. Really getting brought to heel there by that operator as they've been contacting pretty heavily on that long B.
Zoe and IGL, that's brand new to this tier of play as well. First time in Challengers, IGLing a team of this caliber and against teams of seriously high caliber like M80. Oh my god. That is just nasty work.
Wow, the timing was beautiful from Koala Noob. And this round is essentially chalked. M80 with a heavier presence through mid here, kind of giving up A. Let us see what Sad can make happen here. Bob at least able to bring a Guardian into the round, but oh, buddy. It's looking pretty dire. Zoe at least still alive, able to smoke up mid. Always trust Bob to find something. She is very sharp.
Without a doubt. Was playing with that Sonics team for a long time here in NA. Was clearly one of the standouts. Yeah, went to Cloud9 White. Won a couple trophies. Goes back to the Challengers qualifiers. Makes it through to compete here with Sad. I mean, just a proven talent at this point. A fantastic initiator here.
Man's gonna put it away.
She opens this round up even further. That is good.
30 seconds.
Or is it? Oh, okay, not quite. Wingman, unfortunately, going to have to return to the Pokeball for now. I'm going to deny that positioning there. Just with the mosh pit. This will allow for the plant. There is a snake bite there, but that's mostly shrugged off. Going to take 10 XP of damage. But very quickly, M80 come back in again. Airtight on this retake. And again, 3 guns out of this round. Probably not too disappointed.
No, by no means. Textbook retake, textbook gameplay from M80. Airtight, as you said. There are just no flaws with them in situations like this. It's another day at the office. It is another day at the office for these guys. I mean, there's a reason they stuck together throughout the offseason. There's no doubt these guys had offers individually. They are outrageous when it comes to that solo skill, but they have stuck together despite all of that, despite the offers, because they think and they know that they can win Challengers this year. They are the favorite for a reason.
Showing it now as well in a big way. Up against this upstart Sad squad. Who now at least are going to look to make something happen here on the A site, and it might not be slow.
The hunt begins.
While Noob with eyes on rafters, but drops down. Timing doesn't quite favor him. Grab net. Oh, still affected by the debuff, even with the TP out. Darkest able to capitalize here. MA a little bit slow to the start for the time being. And now that offensive vibe, more cuts off screen. Skarner's ready to receive the contact there at rafters. And it's another one for Darkest. Just BCJ now. 6 rounds already stacked up for M80 Wyatt. This 1v4 though, basically unwinnable.
Now Coburg on the flank. It's back to basics for Sad. They are going for... No.
It's one person, Coburg.
No.
One.
Oh, no, Jesus. I mean, that was almost... All right, guys, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. They're getting the confidence up, though, and I'm not mad at that. They're going for knives. They're spraying bodies. They're down 6-4. You got to get your head back in the game somehow. It's maybe a little over the top, but I'm not mad at it. That is...
I mean, they're on a mission to inflict as much psychic damage as possible. I don't know if missing the knife here really achieves that end.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. At least they got to spray the ground a little bit. $50,000 fine, by the way.
Love that.
But they sprayed the ground.
It's okay. I'd take that. Mosh pit here. Koala wanting to play from the top of 410 again. Wants to take one of those aggressive jet-esque angles on this A site. Punish the raw contact. Nothing, no. Gonna be forced away. A lot of util being deployed here. Okay, barrier also thrown up on that high ground. Prevents the swing to the right. Here's the plant. We're in the post plant here now. Darkest dismissing briefly. Kawatalub under pressure from multiple different angles. This is looking pretty fluid here from Sad.
Oh my God, Bob going crazy. Sad, all right, I mean, listen, we were thinking, were these A hits, was it just because they were playing against Winthrop University? You know, respectfully, they're not M80. But I guess Sad's A hits are just sick, to be honest. Even with the wingman going down, they get that barrier to deny the rafters swing, are able to plan off the back of that. And then when the retakers are coming in, they are just fighting together. They are swinging aggressively at them. Some real confidence from Sad, and you know they got that confidence off that knife attempt, and there it was.
I mean, it's very, very hard actually for Koala Noob to have any equity trying to swing with that operator. Leah forces you off the angle. Dizzy's also difficult. There's also like the barrier thrown in the back that basically cuts that off and prevents you from swinging in that direction.
Up for more?
Nice little 0 point here for Bob, rather on Bob. She cannot complete that thrash, at least be able to recover it.
A little bit of control of A here for Sad. They push forward just a bit. They were watching for that B main push.
Try that again. Nope. Absolutely taken down. Nismo denies this time with the null command.
I mean, that is some top tier hating. You woke up early just to hate D1 today.
Hating. Oh, buddy.
My territory, my room.
Gonna Bob can really recover that easily. Annihilation here. Where does he go? Probably up to rafters, speculatively. Nismo.
No,
oh, buddy.
Barrier
not caught.
deployed.
Barrier going to be thrown up there either way, though. Awkward. See how it sort of covers across multiple levels, and here's the retake attempt for M80. Dizzy won't see anything here. Retake wall thrown up. Skarner's well positioned here and throws nest and takes the first. How about two? That's a pretty good rate. Bob's waiting on the off angle now as the wall comes up. She swings through it and finds her one. And it's going to be down to VCJ once more.
My God.
It'll be no good.
Look at those positions, though, from Sad. All playing up top. They're all just facing those entryways together. They want to fight together, and they're winning the duels. These guys have skill. They have raw aim. They have talent. And they're just, I mean, it's on full display in those type of moments. 6-6 at the half. Already, Sad just, I'm not going to say they're you know, beating expectations right now, but I mean, in a lot of people's minds, they might be. I'm sure a lot of people went into this game thinking M80 are winning 13-4, you know?
I mean, the util dump on A is absolutely terrifying. You see how they've avoided B so much because of that open angle. They really love a more claustrophobic part of the map to play through, where Darkest can creep up on you and get value. Might be an early barrier deployment here from Coburg. You have to make a little bit of sound if you want to clear that.
Knife over on A spotted a couple Sad players that were trying to push up just a bit, and it's kept them apprehensive. Coburg now, I mean, well aware of the numbers, going to have to back off. They're just spraying into that barrier. And honestly, it's a loud time for the rotate, though. Darkest has gotten here.
I grabbed net so far wide. Is he? Attempted a re-clear. Now the swing is good. Xana's going to be there. BCJ gets his. We are in the post plant now with only 3 players left and not a whole lot. Wingman is up. There's a cloud burst here for Skarn to work with, but a lot of this util already set in place is going to be difficult. Great blind. Skarn! Oh, what? You're supposed to be blind! You cannot see!
Both hit by the Dizzy.
That is ridiculous now. 1 versus 1. BCJ so low, but they convert under a really stressful situation. And the near side not bothering Skarn at all there. They have the timing. That was very close.
Damn,
the Collat ghost headshot off that was pretty wild. Valiant attempt from Sad right there, but overall, nicely done from M80. I mean, their post-plant positions were all exactly what you need them to be, and that is what wins them out that round at the end of the day. And also, though, I do appreciate Sad, those initial swings trying to fight over the spike. They were good as well, but M80 too strong on that round.
Now, the poison orb that Zoe set up was pretty handy to try and isolate one side of yellow, right? overload it with the rest of your players. Nitro here. Just playing a loose end for now.
Poison's off.
I don't know if they had the setup to deny that orb control away from Darkest. But they're playing on pipes instead. Interesting. They're going to contact this and they are punished for it. More? Maybe. Darkest expecting some attention. From Nest up there, already 3 players drawn over to this part of the map here, and it may be seen committed. Busy in hand here for Bob, just to give her a decent swing and probably more likely set up Darkest for one of their own. Slowly, ever so slowly, Zoe is on this flank. Bear in mind the Killjoy turret there. We'll sniff that out rather early. 40 seconds left to hit this side. M80 have to make a decision.
And Zoe pushing up has allowed all of Sad to stack here.
They got nowhere else to be. Oh, the triple face though. Tough to handle when you're on these pistols. Coburg giving a stay of execution there. Nitro now turns his attention that way. It's Xander that ends up completing the kill. And they were stacked up, Wyatt, to be fair, but M80 eventually come to their senses.
Yeah, scary work. That was a callback to the first half, if you remember. Sad, they got eco'd because of the exact same situation. Xander pushed out B main. They hit A into the stack. It was this close to happening again. Look at Nismo and Nitro. Their HP combined was, what, 60? You know, a couple bullets going the other direction. Those 2 players could have gone down. Could have been looking at a very different round.
All things
going to pick
considered.
up the op.
All things considered, pretty decent anti-eco. Only losing that one weapon. Skarn is set up in that sort of contact position there on A, the one that you usually need to expend some util or at least shoulder peek the corner from Belt.
Over in B main, it looks like they're going to do this smoke dizzy play to take the space. It's what M80 have been doing quite frequently. And then a lot of times, too, they'll throw a flash back yellow and have Kowalinu TP across like he's basically doing a jet dash. This time they sent a wingman to try and clear it out, though. They actually get stopped by... I don't even know what those are called. The deadlock trips. God knows what those are even called.
Oh yeah, the motion sensor. You make any sound and they get set off. Yeah.
Is it called the motion sensor?
No, that's definitely not called that.
I mean, that's what. Who knows what deadlock utility is really called?
Again, looked like even a grab net combined with that as it went off.
Shutting them down.
Top B. Molly as well making some roll up. Deploys that util in very quick succession. Xander pushing up. The Viper wall actually allowing the Viper to shrug off that blind and continue rolling up. A lot of presence here from Midva, Kowalinu, and Nismo are just holding their ground. What a stunning bonus this has been so far. And no chance has Skarn been a part of this round.
Yeah, they need to just get on out of there and save this off. Hope that it can be, you know, that little piece of equipment that can turn the tides in the next when they're going to be on a terrible bye. Coburg, Zoe, and Darkest all dead broke. $0 between the 3 of them.
Off they go, Bob and Skarn. To confer, because the last couple of rounds have been nothing short of brutal here. It is a flawless conversion on the bonus round for M80. And a nice little execute on B despite all of that treacherous deadlock utility in their way. They explode forth, make use of that Viper wall, of course. And they have all the control they need. Nicely done, M80 starting to stack them up. Skarn will have a freebie hit. Can they keep this operating? Yes.
Nismo on this map is just fearless on this attack side. What he does on B as the KO is nothing short of excellent. The way he plays around the walls, uses his flashes at perfect timings to push through them, find picks. He's just so aware of how to crack the defense open on that side of the map. It's just one of the aspects of his play that really makes him, in my eyes, the best player here in Challengers.
Just a little float over here for Skarn, but there'll be no action as M80. With all this information going over to Sad, have committed already to A pretty heavily. Ooh, it's just an embedded Darkest here, and they'd rather play off some teammates and make more use of that Leah. So they give some ground. The wingman plant, this might be the old-fashioned way. Yeah, BCJ is going to get it done. Some of the KJ util set up for the post part, and then away we go behind the wall.
Oh, really good Dizzy is going to force those players up top down. Oh my god, absolute chaos. So the volley is BCJ. The backside players trying to swing onto him. That op still in play. One rifle still in play for Sad. Bob almost capitalizing off of that weapon. Not going to be able to make it happen. Retake absolutely shut down by M80.
I mean, this is a different map that we saw in the first half. M80 been so very clean. Sad, of course, a little bit underarmed in that particular round. But even then, like M80 are more than happy to head over to the site, really scale into it pretty heavily, and then give it up. Play back into it with the Dizzy recover. BCJ instrumental. And so many of these rounds, the Dizzy usage has been absolutely superb. And we saw it on the camera. M80 get out of sight, and then Gravnet, Mosh Pit gets thrown at them. Like all this util gets thrown at an M80 who just aren't there anymore.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I'm just looking at BCJ on the scoreboard right now. I don't think saying underrated honestly begins to describe him and the career that he's had in Valorant. Truly a fantastic initiator, has been for years. Sadly missed out on being able to play for a team in partnership last year, despite being one of the key parts of that XSET core that was going to international events, where he was putting up some mad performances against the absolute top teams. We're talking top 4 teams in the world at the time, and he was on some maps just dumpstering them. And he's just been silent in his career since then. Hasn't had an opportunity until really now to play with M80.
Isolate and exterminate.
Could just be, such a massive piece of what is going to take this team potentially to partnership.
You hinted at it before. I mean, there's got to be something about this team that makes these players want to go here rather than vying for spots in franchising. I mean, Nitro, considered, top of his class, especially when he actually stepped back and retired, theoretically could have found a way in by any other way. But M80, they're doing the old-fashioned way, through Ascension. At least that's the plan. So far, they definitely stand a couple of floors above Sad right now. As these rounds, we've strung 4 together off the pistol with very clean conversions, and they are full board. They are very rich, and Sad have to make this round work. They're playing very carefully around yellow with this deadlock. It's the one cut player. Well, forget about that. Oh, this is very bad. They're going to get yellow control off this white. Push their way up here. Proberg has to step ahead of that util. The mosh pit thrown down behind them. Scarlet's going to be there at the very least, but M80 explode. In a positive and negative sense, I suppose. They're going to be pulling this spike out and heading over to A after that.
And look at this. Darkus is trying
30
to catch
seconds
them
left.
across if they go for it, but Nismo thinks twice, was just making a bit of sound, trying to bait, and it's worked. Look at Darkus positioning on the map.
Split him up.
My man is miles away as the spike is going to get planted here.
Something as simple as cutting noise has split Sad straight down the
10
middle.
seconds left.
Nitro, they're not really
Last
going to see
player
this swing from
standing.
Zoe. Nismo seems to be aware of it somehow. And Darkus, with a paltry 33 points of HP, has to find a way to salvage this. And I'm sorry, but this round is worth 2. Sad are in deep trouble if Darkus cannot get them out of this sticky situation. No Lear available for the Rainer here. Have to hope to get the drop on someone and find a clean kill. But M80 are split in very safe positions. Bot not going to spot anything, but very cute. Darkus able to pick that up. Nismo is there on the swing, and all buddy dire straits for Sad.
Bit of revenge. A little bit of revenge on the Darkus right there. That's $100,000 minus for M80 off that. From that fine. That's some little bit of revenge from when Darkus was spraying.
I mean,
whoever's body that was earlier.
small price to pay for a clapback like that, right? M80 kept quiet and said they let their play do the talking. Wide and zhoosh, this has been a one-sided half.
Yeah, we're taking a, I believe, was that a Sad timeout, Bob? Right back to the Rubik's Cube, keeping the mind and hands warm,
Yeah.
Not wanting to cool off at all.
She's
Can't
staying
frag
locked
right now.
in. Any
All
moment
good.
where her hands aren't on the keyboard, they're on the cube. Solving life's mysteries, peering into alternate realities. Looks like we have just some mic issues here. It might be Darkest or someone else. Let's get him sorted out. So I wonder if Scarn's a streamer. We should ask him that.
I'm just wondering if Bob's going to finish this in time. I'm locked in right now, Mitch.
I mean, what we don't know.
I am just preying on the Rubik's Cube finish.
Yeah, what we don't know is if if she started a new cube here and she's already solved the other one while playing at the same time. You know, we don't know that.
And we don't. I mean, that could be the 7th cube. just one every single round being solved.
I think this is probably a good time to kind of point out again just how polar opposite these halves have been. You know, in theory, like you'd expect Sad to be able to find a way to really leverage the defensive capacity of Deadlock, but it's been quite the opposite. In fact, you know, the Deadlock looked much better in the post plant scenarios for Sad, especially on those like repeated A hits. Reina would sort of, you know, dive on in. There's just a flood of utility. Very easy to set a post plant up and then deny an avenue of entry with that barrier. That's just not been so easy to do here. I really feel like M80 have read the Deadlock positioning, right? Even last round, it's like paranoia. It's a dizzy. They know the Deadlock's playing it yellow and they kind of trap them there. And then they overwhelm them.
They haven't had a great opportunity to use the wall at a time that will actually throw M80 off in any way. It's really just been kind of placed in B main as a delay mechanism, but they haven't had a chance in a post plant to throw it down to really cut off some angles or, you know, throw it at a time where it can separate players from each other while they're trying to take space. It's, you know, thrown down before there's an attempt to take space, so then they just break it and go, right? So I think it's going to come down to trying to find a time to actually use it with some more significance as we head back into the game here. M80, 2 more rounds to claim this victory.
Tough here. We really expected Sad to carry that first half performance into the second here. But M80 are making it very, very hard for Sad to get any read on them safely. And when they do commit to these sites, it's pretty flawless. Like the post plants for M80 have been, gosh, so good. Scrap that from Coburg. Yeah, we caught someone there, but Xander doesn't care. He plants his feet and he guns Coburg down.
Yeah, so there it is again, right? They just break it, run past. They're already quite deep there. They still got a minute 10 on the clock. I mean, they can try and go back and re-clear if they want.
They're thinking about it.
If they do, they'll run into darkness.
Zoe here just has a preemptive snake bite equipped in case they feel like they're getting pushed. Here comes Thrash, shut down. Nismo is so good at denying the Gecko value. It's almost unfair, really. Bob gets a revenge, though. Brings Nismo down, but still no utility available. And once again, it's the player in yellow. White that gets completely caught. There's no escape. The flood from M80 is just too fast for them to reposition. And, I mean, as any flawless round here, to bring us to what is map point.
And that's what it is. It is just a flood. These players going in together, they simply cannot be shut down right now. Sad have not won a defensive round yet. It's just so nice from VCJ.
Yeah, I mean, you can't escape the Thrash if you're that close and you're at yellow. You cross, you die. You stand still, you get detained, you die. You know, the swing already, I think Bob was already down by that point. There's just so little you can do. M80 very good at putting Sad in positions where there is no win. Their outs are so limited.
So here we go again. That barrier is going down, but this early barrier just really hasn't been getting a ton of value. Excuse me. And
that can't happen here.
Dark is trying to swing left, try and play off them, breaking the barrier, find a timing, but it's just getting traded out.
Yeah, why are you? I wonder, like taking that fight there, 1v3. Coburg's able to get 1 kill, but M80 are all there. They don't need to break the wall. Just kind of go around it. Now they can sort of cancel on this B. Drawn Bob and Skarn away from the action. It's going to be all up to Zoe, potentially. Unless we see a double pump, which M80, we know, are not above. Not above performing those kind of maneuvers. This is so rude. Blocking off mid here as well. Really trying to pull the wool over Sad's eyes.
Poison's on.
This is looking like a done deal. They just need to get the spike down, drop that Viper's Pit from Xander, and there should be essentially no hope for Sad. It looks like we're almost certainly headed to a map 2 here.
30 seconds left.
Most passive or passive angles here. keenly aware, of course, of the fact that a Viper stick could be down. So maybe looking at the timing of that. Okay, defensive one. This one obviously spills over the edge of rafters and does cover much of the site. But you see Wingman there just outside of it, actually able to get the plant completed. And M80 can assemble in these post-plant positions. Don't know what happened there. Don't think I want to know.
That flanker just picked up with ease, all onto Bob and Zoe, trying to fight back into this pit. But I think their hopes are just going to rest on map 2, taking it to Ascent, their map pick. A decent effort. Good first half, but
One enemy remaining.
Koala Noob just going to shut things down. BCJ with the final one, only right after that great performance that he had on the map, Mitch.
Yeah, man. I think we really see an incredible half from M80. Like, they are extremely solid, and they're not really favoring one side or another. Some teams find success on an A side here and just keep repeating that. But they are really able to break any conditioning here and make it very, very hard for SAD to get info about these, like, these site cancels. When they cut noise, they smoke off mid. It's very, very hard for SAD to be able to allocate the correct amount of resources to receive these sort of later in the round site hits. Frankly, M80 just ran rings around SAD in that second half. Their attack side was vastly different. And maybe, like, I don't know. I will say that I think SAD have, like, a very well-drilled A-take. It's too much util for M80 to contest, and M80 are in disadvantaged positions in the post-plant 9 times out of 10. Kind of why SAD have such a competitive first half.
Yeah, for sure. They did a great job, M80, that is, of totally just nullifying that deadlock as well. I mean, really just could not find significant impact at all on that defensive side. You mentioned it at some point just after the side swap, how much more value the deadlock utility, the grab nets, and the barrier orb were getting on attack when they were taking the site and in that post plant shutting things down. And that was absolutely the case, right? And that in those moments, in that kind of scramble, and when you have less time to work with, when you actually have to take the time to break the barrier, like the barrier little orbs mid retake, you're wasting valuable time, right? But in the way they're playing it on defense, they were just kind of working around it like, I don't know, like a flimsy sage wall, to be honest. Like, they just pull up, break it, and
they would just like triple stack on one side of it and be like, okay, swing us.
Yeah.
Go like 2 for 1, I think, in those trades and end up winning by it. So that's pretty rough. We're going to take a break here. Chance for SAD to collect themselves. A lot of them spread over the entirety of Icebox in small pieces. Yeah, it's grisly, but that's what the second half looked like. Stick around. We've got much more to come from this series, or so we hope if you're a SAD fan, as Ascent is our next map.
It's been a long ride. I think it's pretty satisfying to be here now. I think many of my teammates will agree that we were trialing for a long time, and we felt like for a long time we wouldn't really ever get like a solid 5. You know, I feel like there was always like a missing piece or two, but you know, we're here and we finally found our missing pieces. So
joining SAD, it came pretty quickly, and it was mainly because Coburg just messaged me on Twitter and asked me to trial, and I was like, sure. Didn't really honestly get many scrims with them for trials. I just played 2 events with them. We want to play with you, and I was like, all right.
Keeping 2 stable in screens to be able to re-entry. Now back to tower. Bob only for 1. It has to be her for the remaining 2, and they line up for her.
I think for team chemistry, I think we just do a good job or adapting and like bringing Bob in, just because we leave a lot of like room open for other ideas. You know, we make sure we don't want to shut anyone down. We want as much feedback as possible for everyone on the team. And then, you know, as well as that, we always like to joke around a little bit, you know, whether it's like harp on Bob a little bit or something, or just, you know, just crack a joke or something, have some fun. So it felt pretty easy. I think Bob has a similar sense of humor as we do in that regard.
I think the team chemistry is just pretty good in general. The players really like each other. I think we're all friends. I think in terms of me being the last piece, I think all they really needed was just like an initiator player who, I mean, could play initiator properly, honestly. That's all they needed. The team's already pretty good. So I was like just there to fill some gaps, do a bit of fragging, and it worked out.
Personally, I think it's like 2 reasons why you guys should watch out for us. I think we're all individually pretty good. I think we have a lot of firepower on this team. I feel like a lot of teams have to like balance that out usually. But I feel like we're pretty strong in that category. And then I feel like we have some pretty good comms out of all the teams. Obviously, I'm biased. I don't know every team's comms. But yeah, I feel like our chemistry and our teamwork is actually pretty solid.
I love my fans. I love our fans and SAD, especially Hack Niger supported me and the Sonics guys that came from Oz since the start. And for the other teams, I hope we all have fun, and I hope we don't lose basically in our matches. Yeah.
Thank you for the fans out there. Always appreciate your guys' support. If you're gonna be hating, that's all good. I ain't gonna hold grudges. Just hope you have fun seeing us play.
Enable for these pushes at this stage. If SAD can play for that same level of deniability.
Oh, beautiful.
Like that with Coburg, as he's just gonna pop right out, find 3. Bob can do the rest.